Dear viewers, we all know that we are under a lockdown situation, which is really so unusual. Most of us didn't see such situations in our whole lifespan. So for today's topics, I all your points and questions regarding COVID-19. And first of all, I will go for a short presentation, and then we'll go for the question answer session, inshallah. And anyone, if you do have any questions regarding my presentation, can put on your question on the chat box. So hope you'll enjoy. Try to clarify all your queries and questions regarding COVID-19, definitely upon nutritional requirement. Thank you. Eat right in COVID-19 lockdown. First of all, we need to know what is the importance of nutrition in current situation. Actually, good nutrition is crucial for health, particularly in times when the immune system might need to fight back. Proper nutrition and hydration are vital key points to be healthier with stronger immune systems and lower risk of chronic illness and infectious disease, which is the burning issue right at this moment. But we all know that because of the limited access of fresh foods, maybe we had to compromise the opportunities of continuing eating healthy all the time. But definitely for that, we will maintain to follow some strategies to maintain our nutritional requirement as per the pandemic situation. First of all, we need to boost our immunity. To boost immunity, definitely you need to improve your diet, don't compromise on sleep, stay hydrated, don't skip on exercise, distress yourself, like practice regular praying and meditation, avoid smoking, alcohol and other addictive substances, and traveling. Supplements and immunity boosting foods, sometimes we need to depend upon supplementation, especially for vitamin C, vitamin D and zinc. We have to have a practice to drink warm water throughout the day. Now we'll go for some important food materials or nutrient components. Those we will try to include in our daily meal plan right at this pandemic situation. First of all, vitamin C rich food like amloki, guava, lemon, broccoli, cauliflower, orange, papaya, red, green or yellow pepper, sweet potatoes, strawberries, tomatoes and sprouted Bengal gram. Sprouted Bengal grams is actually the chola that we used to take. This is Ramadan. We all know that as per our socio-cultural activities, we used to take chola regularly at the time of iftar. If you can convert it into sprouted chola or sprouted Bengal gram, then it would be a very rich source for your vitamin C. Then comes vitamin D3. The most important source of vitamin D3 is sunlight. At least 15 minutes exposure to the sunlight in between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day is good enough for our daily requirement of vitamin D3. Though beside all this, there are some foods like fatty fish, tuna, pangas, some egg yolks, beef liver, mushrooms, cod liver oil and cheese. These are also the natural sources of vitamin D3. Then come to zinc. Zinc, selenium and magnesium are three most important minerals that are really important to boost up our immune system. So the rich source of zinc are red meat, eggs, whole grain, dark chocolate, legumes like chickpeas, lentils, beans, which you used to take at the time of Ramadan in the form of chola, bora, beguni, etc. Then seeds like flaxseed, pumpkin, then lobster, some sort of nuts like peanuts, cashew nuts, almonds and dairy goods, and definitely some vegetables like kidney beans, potato. These are really rich in zinc. For selenium and magnesium, we could depend upon tuna, shrimp, beef, chicken, milk, yogurt, cottage cheese, brown rice, oatmeal and banana from fruits, lentils. Then some nuts again, almonds, cashews, seeds for flaxseed, pumpkin seed, whole grains like wheat, oats, barley, and definitely some green leafy vegetable. And antioxidant is also a very important component of nutrients to improve our immune system. We all know that we could get the antioxidants from any sort of colorful fruits and vegetables. That means beet, purple or red grapes, orange, strawberries, tomatoes, sweet potatoes, carrot, red bell pepper, beans, red cabbage, spinach, eggplant, or even corn and dark chocolate are the rich sources. So viewers, I think you have already noticed that the particular components that we really need to improve our immune system in this pandemic situations, there are some common foods, common rich food source in between these particular nutrient components. So if you have my slides, you could easily shape up your meal plan including all these common sources in daily routine. Now I would like to explain some WHO guideline in front of you. We all know that because of the current situation of pandemic, we all are so much panicked, and sometimes there are some Facebook status or Facebook informations or any other social media informations which really misguides us a lot. So currently, for the home quarantine as well as for the treatment and nutritional guideline, definitely the most important and reliable source is CDC and WHO. So actually I'll try to explain you the WHO guideline today. First of all, WHO recommends us very strongly to eat fresh and unprocessed food every day. According to WHO, we have to take 2 cups of fruits and 2.5 cup of vegetables per day, 180 grams of grains and 160 grams of meats and beans. And we'll definitely try to take red meat at least 1 to 2 times a week and poultry 2 to 3 times per week. Over here I want to explain regarding red meat. Sometimes especially those are cardiac patients or hypercholesterol patients or hypertensive patients, they used to avoid the red meat, and we also do suggest to avoid the red meat for them. But currently, as red meat is a very good source of zinc and protein, we would suggest them try to take red meat at least once or twice a week, but definitely before preparation trim out all the visible fats from the red meat. For snacks, we can choose fresh fruits rather than the high sugary or high fatty or high salty snacks products. We also keep in mind that we will not overcook the vegetable and fruits, through which they can lose the nutritional values. And whenever we are using canned or dried vegetables or fruits, which we are not that much habituated in our country for canned or dried vegetables or fruits, but though if we take, we will definitely choose those which are without salt. Eat moderate amount of fats and oils. In fact, at the time of pandemic, the need of fat is not that much, as we are not in a very vigorous work, or actually most of us couldn't burn their calories at this moment, as we are all stuck up at our home. So we will prefer to consume unsaturated fat rather than the saturated one, and definitely will avoid any sort of processed meat or fish, something like that. And if possible, we will take the milk or dairy product as the low fat form. I'm on mute. For how long? That means again, Firoz barbar mute chole jacche. Keno? Consume the unsaturated fat rather than the saturated one, and we'll try to avoid the processed meat and any sort of processed food which are really rich in fat and salt. And if possible, we will prefer the low fat dairy products. and will avoid any sort of trans fat. Actually, we got the trans fat basically from the bakery items. So it's better to avoid the bakery items right at this moment, not only for the trans fat but also for the packaging of the bakery foods. We could be contaminated through the packaging, so it's preferable not to take the bakery foods, any sort of bakery goods like bakery biscuit, bakery breads right at this moment, or any sort of snacks item. Then this is a very important point, that we have to take enough amount of water for our proper hydration. We all know that water is really essential for life. It transports nutrients and compounds in blood, regulates our body temperature, which is very important right at this moment. It helps us get rid of waste and lubricates and cushions our joints. Proper hydration is also important for the mucosal health of our throat and upper respiratory tract. So it's recommended from WHO for countries like us, as we are a tropical country, we have to take 10 to 12 glasses of water, which is 2.5 to 3 liter of water per day for each and every healthy adults. But those who do have some renal problem, definitely their water amount of fluid would be restricted. Water is the best choice, but if you can also consume other drinks like fruits and vegetables that contain rich amounts of water, for example lemon juice, tea, coffee, but definitely we have to be very careful regarding the regarding taking too much of caffeine, and we'll try our level best to avoid the sweetened fruit juice, fizzy drinks or added sugar. This is another important point, that we need to avoid the salt as well. WHO recommends us to take 5 gram of salt per day, which is less than a teaspoon. It includes the table salts and the cooking salt as well. And definitely the high sodium products like soy sauce, fish sauce, chips, we also need to avoid these all. Avoid eating out. We all know that. Eat at home to reduce your rate of contact with other people and lower your chance of being exposed to COVID-19. We recommend maintaining a distance of at least 1 meter, which is quite impossible if you go to a restaurant, or even you could drop by to a restaurant to buy some food. You would monitor it. It's quite impossible, so it's better to avoid the outside food. And I have mentioned before, we also need to be very much careful regarding the food packaging, not only the food and social distancing, also the plastic or paper packaging or plastic packaging or whatever fabric packaging, all can carry the COVID-19 virus. So it would be much better if we can avoid those. Consume enough fiber. Fiber contributes to a healthy digestive system and offer a prolonged feeling of fullness, which really helps to prevent overeating right at this moment. To ensure an adequate fiber intake, we can aim to include vegetables, fruits, pulses and some whole grain. That means we can include brown rice instead of white rice. We can include brown atta, maida, whatever, instead of the refined one. So that would be much more preferable. Also an important food component, that is oats. We are all more or less very much familiar with oats. We could definitely take at least 1 servings of oats per day and some leafy vegetables, which will cover the intake of fiber as well as the important minerals and vitamin C, all in a single dish. So I'm suggesting to my patients to have oats with leafy vegetables. That means you can prepare the oats with spinach or something like that. So it would be a very rich high fiber meal, which is also rich in minerals and vitamins. Safe food handling is very important. Only safe food is healthy food, and the key principles of good food hygiene includes mainly First of all, you have to keep your hands, kitchen and utensils clean. Separate the raw and cooked food, especially the raw meat and the fresh products. Cook your food thoroughly. Thoroughly means especially for meat, fish. And right at this moment, we are recommending not to have steaks which are really juicy and not so well done steaks. It's better to avoid sushi right at this moment. We need to keep the food in safe temperature, which is below 5 degree or above 60 degrees Celsius, which is not, COVID-19 is not at all comfortable at these temperatures. We need to use safe water and raw materials. Try not to unpack the dry groceries before 3 to 5 days after purchase. It means that definitely we need to purchase our daily groceries. I would suggest not to go to the shopping mall or the grocery stores not more than once a week. And after coming from the stores, it's better if you can keep the dry groceries in a uncommon place in your house where most of the family members are not going or will not touch the packaging up to 3 to 5 days. It's better you unpack it after 3 to 5 days. If possible, we can spray disinfectant to the sealed packaging like the atta, moida, sometimes the rice, those which are sealed packaged, we could easily spray disinfectant. And by following these recommendations, I think it would be much easier for us to save ourselves from common foodborne diseases as well as COVID-19. This is very important. We need to be aware about the portion size because we know that it can be difficult to get portion size right. Being at home for extended periods, especially without company or with limited activities, can also lead to overweight or overeating. So we will try to know about our portion size according to height, weight and age. So that was all for today. Thank you very much. I think now the floor is yours. If there is any inconvenience or any queries, you could ask me. Rather than the presentation, so that you do have some queries, I could clear them all. Especially for COVID positive patients, it's highly recommended that their vitamin C intake would be 3000 milligram per day, which is really high and nearly impossible to meet up with the natural sources. In that cases, I would suggest them to go for fortification or supplementation for vitamin C. The amount would be for adult 3000 milligram per day. Zinc 20 milligram per day. For these, they also can depend upon the supplementation. And especially vitamin D3, we all know that we can't go out at this moment to maintain the social distancing. That's why we are depriving ourselves from sunlight. In those cases, they can take 2000 international unit of vitamin D3 per day orally as supplement. Beside this, for the natural sources of food, the food must be very fresh for COVID-19 patients. They will try to avoid all unprocessed food. That means it will be freshly cooked. They will take the food which is cooked on that day. Don't take the food which has been cooked for more than 24 hours. With every meal, they need to add vitamin C. So how can we add that? It could be Malta juice or orange juice after the breakfast. It could be 2 to 3 pieces of lemon with lunch and dinner. It could be snacks of sprouted chola for evening. So like this, we could accommodate the vitamin C recommendation. And for zinc, I have already mentioned, try to take twice or thrice a week red meat, which will help a lot to meet up the zinc requirement parallelly with the supplementation. And for COVID-19 positive patients, they have to take the fluids in warm temperature, and I would suggest some herbs and spices which have really some antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, which helps to reduce our any sort of respiratory tract infection, and also it helps to improve the respiratory health. That is black cumin, that means kalo jeera, honey, ginger, and some cloves like lobongo, turmeric, holud. So what is my suggestion? It's better to boil some water for at least 40 minutes with 1 teaspoon of ginger, 5 to 6 pieces of cloves, then 1 teaspoon of black cumin, kalo jeera, and then after you boil it for 40 minutes. After boiling, you add some honey and a pinch of turmeric. Then take this warm water at least 5 to 7 times a day as like tea. It really helps to improve our respiratory tract cells health, as well as will soothe the throats for the COVID-19 patient. Even those who are not positive but do have some symptoms or do not have any symptoms, they can also take it twice or thrice a day.